What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rossie's Clubhouse. Today, I'm bringing you another movie, and you will find out that this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring you movies. Like I said, I'm going to do interviews. We're going to do some music, games, a little bit of all of that. But today, I bring you another movie. This movie is called I See You. It was a 2019 film. You can catch this on Netflix. It's currently on Netflix. You can look it up in their horror section. It's a crime, drama, horror film, okay? And we have Helen Hunt, who plays Jackie Harper. We have Owen Teague, who plays Alec. Judah Lewis, who plays whoever Judah Lewis plays. John Tini, he plays Greg Harper. And we have Erica Alexander, who plays Lieutenant Mariah. And Erica Alexander, you guys remember her from Living Single back in the day, okay? And Helen Hunt, and let's see, Erica or John Tini, you'll also know him by face, all right? This film is, this is a little different, guys. When I started this film, I didn't know if I was going to like it. It's kind of slow. So picture this, middle America, suburbs, beautiful manicured lawns, 3-story home. These people have everything. But when you go into their home life, they're not quite happy, because we find out that mom, who's played by Helen Hunt, Jackie's had an affair on her husband, Greg Harper. And so their son, who blames mom and is very angry about this. So you enter this house in this beautiful backdrop, scenery and all that, with this family that's fractured. But let me read you a little bit about it, okay? So you get the gist of this movie, okay? So we have strange occurrences plague a small-town detective and his family as he investigates the disappearance of a 12-year-old boy. So this film has 3 different storylines going on, okay? There's 3 different twists, okay? So when we start this film, we find out that Detective Harper, who is Greg, is investigating this kidnapping that's happened for the past 10 years in this town, and they haven't been able to catch the killer. Well, when the movie starts off, there's another young boy who is riding home from school. He's cuts through the woods, and all of a sudden, as he's riding, you see him being swept off his bike. Nothing, you don't see anything. He's just in the air, flown off his bike, okay? Just snatched from the air off his bike. And so all that's left on this at the crime scene is his bike, okay? So he's I think the 4th kid that's been kidnapped, all right? So we have a kidnapping on our hands, okay? Besides that, in Greg's household, like I said, there's the mom, Jackie, has had an affair. So the household's very grim, okay? A very depressed family, but there are things also going on in their household. Pitchers missing, silverware from their kitchen drawer is missing. So needless to say, I'm thinking, like you all will think when you see this film, there's ghosts, okay? So this is a ghost film. That's what they lead us to believe, all right? So at the house, you have the family gathering around. The wife and the husband, they aren't getting along. They're arguing a lot. They get into an argument. The husband chucks his phone out of the window. Pin that, because we're going to come back to that, all right? Just to let you know the anger. And on top of that, you feel the tension in the household. You feel that everyone's kind of living their own lives. You know, their son is in the room playing video games. But there is a time where the wife gets up because she's hearing noises. And that's another thing that you'll hear. You'll hear noises in a house, but you don't see anything, all right? So mom gets up to investigate. She goes into her son's room. She hears that he's online playing, but he's not in the room. So she goes there, and you see something move behind her. She then is focused on something on the floor underneath the son's bed. So she looks down, and what she sees is like this mask. It's this like frog mask. But she doesn't think anything about it, because he comes in a room, and he's like, what are you doing in here? And she's like, just nothing. I'm going to take you to school tomorrow. Just go to bed. You're up too late. But what did she see underneath that bed? Pin that as well, all right? So as the movie goes along, we find more about the kidnapping. The little boy's missing. The whole town is out looking for him. They think it's a copycat because 10 years prior, there was a young boy that was found dead on the train tracks in that town. And so 2 other boys were missing as well. So we kind of think like it's a copycat, like the killer's come back because he was like dormant for 10 years and now he's come back. But we don't know who the copycat is, all right? So we're day 3. More occurrences is happening in the house. Like I said, the family has this beautiful three-story home. Well, the husband's outside and he looks up on the roof and there's just this mug on the roof. He goes up there, he thinks it's his son. He goes out on the roof, he gets the mug and he looks inside. There's cigarettes inside. He kind of shrugs it off, brings it back in, put the mug away. Pin that as well, that mug, all right? Because we're going to come back to that. Every day they come home and they go through the same thing every day, guys. He comes home from work, they're not talking, but things are happening around the house, okay? So he goes and asks the wife, what's up with the pictures? Because every time he comes home from work and he walks upstairs, they have, the family pictures as you're walking up the stairs to go to the 2nd floor. And there'll be like a picture missing and then another picture missing. So this is a ghost story. We're just trying to figure out who died in a house, what happened in a house, because usually with movies like this, it's always there was a massacre in this house. Someone once lived here and we're just getting the ghost from, 1930, that lived in this house, or the house is buried on a cemetery. Okay. So we usually get that. So I'm thinking, okay, that's what this is, right? Anyways, we find out mid-film that there's this thing called frogging. And frogging is when squatters take over an occupied residence. So if you're living in an apartment, I don't think you have to worry about froggers. But what they do is they find lavish homes and find a way to sneak in and usually stay up in the attic, or if there's like a guest room that the family doesn't use, they stay there. And we end up figuring out that there are no ghosts in a house. They're froggers. They're 2 teenagers that are living in the people's house as the people are living in a house. So all these strange occurrences that are going on actually takes place from the froggers. So, second storyline, we then learn about the 2 teenagers that have broken into the family's home. You have Mindy and you have Alec. And Alec and Mindy are good friends. I think they're dating. This is something that Mindy's done from what you find out about her all her life as a teenager. She's homeless, so she found a better way of being able to sleep at night, better conditions by frogging people. So she brings Alec along, who's never done this before, okay? So Alec comes along and she's telling him, like, stay away from the windows. We can't be heard. We have to be really, really quiet so they don't find us. Harmless, right? The problem is that Alec feels like after day 3 of being there, this is kind of boring. They're playing word games. They're doing all this. Alec wants to turn it up. So he's telling Mindy, why don't we just mess with them? Make them think they're losing their mind, take some things from the house. And Mindy's like, no, we're doing this so that we can have a place to sleep. We don't ever interact with the family, she tells him. We never let them know that we're here. Well, when Mindy and Alec are sleeping at night, Alec starts to get up and he's roaming around the house. To him, it's it's fun, it's exciting, at the thought of being caught. Well, Alec is the one that starts to do certain things like removing the family's silverware out of their drawer. There was one night where the husband wakes up and he and his wife, by the way, are sleeping in separate rooms. So he wakes up in another bedroom and it's like he pissed himself. He wakes up, he looks and the bed's wet. He pissed himself. Well, when we see the movie from the Frogger's viewpoint, you then see that it wasn't Greg Harper who pissed himself. Alec had gone into his room. And guys, one thing I do want to say, these people sleep freaking hard, because how can someone stand on the bed that you're sleeping in and piss on you? And that's exactly what Alec did. It was funny to him. And then the mask, the Frogger mask underneath the bed, Alec brought that with him because he thought, since we're froggers, might as well have a mask. He was laying under the son's bed when the mom was in there looking underneath his bed because she thought she saw something, but she saw that frogger mask. That was Alec in the house. But things get a little bit carried away with this whole frogging thing. That's something that's supposed to be innocent ends up being twisted, okay? So we enter a scene where I don't know why, but mom's lover ends up showing up at the house. Her son's upstairs. She's going to take him to school. He shows up at the front door and, he's like, I love you. Let's run off together. And she's like, no, I don't want you. I'm trying to fix things with my family. That mug that I was telling you about to pin that ends up falling from wherever and hitting the guy in the head. Let's see, Jackie's lover's in the head, bust his head. She takes him downstairs to the basement because she can't take him upstairs in the house. The son's there. And while he's down there, she's like, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. She thinks it's her son that threw it out of the window and hit him because obviously the son's upset that she's having an affair. But you find out that it wasn't the son. But here's the thing, guys. While he's in a basement and she's, helping him out, got an ice pack on his head. She's like, I got to go. Stay here. Don't move. Stay down here. She leaves, take the son to school. You then see someone approaching him. You don't know who it is and knocks him out with a bat, hits him in the back of his head with a bat. He then dies. He's in the basement. That guy is dead. So you're still at this point wondering, is it a ghost? We now know there's froggers in the house, and we now get to see that standpoint because we think, well, it has to be Alec. I mean, he's doing all this other stuff. Well, let's talk about that kidnapping again, okay? Remember, the little boy just was snatched off his bike. It looks like just something out of the air. You don't see it. As they're investigating that area in the woods, detective find out that there's a little like thin piece of twine that's wrapped around the tree that extends. So somebody has set the boy up and has had that twine. And when the boy went riding, that's what pulled him off of the bike. We still don't know who it is because we do believe that it's a copycat, all right? But we did see that twine, so we know now there is nothing paranormal going on there, okay? As things are being investigated and the froggers are walking around the house, Mindy is very upset because she's realizing that Alec is walking around the house doing things, and she tells him, you got to stop. You got to stop. But Alec ends up just losing his mind. He's really fixated on hurting the people in the house that he's occupying. We then find out Mindy's like, okay, I want you to stop. We got to leave. We got to leave this house. So Mindy goes down to the basement to get the rest of their stuff where they left it at in the basement level garage. When she goes in there, she sees mom and the lover talking. She sees him with the ice pack on his head. She too thinks it's Alec. She's hiding down there because obviously mom and the guy's in the basement. She sees the mom leave out and she sees who hits mom's lover in the head. And when they show you who it is, it wasn't Alec. It was Greg Harper. It was the husband. He killed the lover. So, but he was at work. How was it that he was able to get home? Well, they show that as they're on their way to go investigate the other kidnapping, him and his partner drops him off at home, waits for him to go inside to get something. He comes upon the lover in the house, busts him inside of the head. He ends up dying. He comes back home from work. The wife is down in the basement because she thinks that it's her son that did it because who else could do it? No one else was in the house. She didn't see that her husband's in the house. So he comes home and she's down in the basement and she's freaking out because he was alive and now he's dead. Now he's dead. So she tells her husband, I'm sorry. She's crying. He's like, what did you do? What did you do? She's like, I'm sorry. It's our son. He did it. He's upset with me because of the affair and he killed him. And then the husband looks at her and says, Greg tells Jackie, well, I can't protect him. I can't protect our son if he's picked up. So they load the body up in their car and they take the body out. And as they're riding through the countryside, they pass by the searchers that are looking for the boy that's been kidnapped. and he and his wife go and they bury the boyfriend in a shallow grave. So now the husband's in on it, the wife, all of this, guys. You don't know at this point when this happens that it was the husband until a little bit later. We're jumping around right now, okay? So back to the kidnapping, all right? They get home after, just to let you know, they get home after, burying the body and all. When they get home, the wife goes upstairs. He hears her yell. He goes upstairs. The son has been, their son has been put in a bathtub, tied up. He's out of it. He's foaming at the mouth. Greg's like, Jackie, take him to the hospital. Go, 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 get him there. The husband's walking around the house. He has his gun out. He thinks someone's in a house because he's hearing something. And then you hear him, or you don't hear, but you see someone approaching Greg from behind and maybe being hit. We don't know, because then we go back to the scene where I failed to leave out, guys, that Mindy and Alec end up getting into an argument because Mindy sees him in the house, all right? Alec is like, no, you're not going to stop me from having fun. I'm enjoying this. He then pushes Mindy. Mindy falls down the stairs. She gets knocked out. Alec goes and puts her in the back of their Jeep, the family's Jeep, not knowing that, the husband was going to come home and end up getting in the Jeep. So Alec is hiding in the garage. Mindy's inside the family's Jeep in the back, covered up. The husband then gets in a Jeep and he drives out to the woods. What is he doing? Mindy ends up waking up. She looks in a bag, and in the bag is this bat with blood on it, because remember, the husband killed the guy. But there's also other things in this bag. There's like these little knives in a bag, pocket knives in a bag. There's other things that's in this bag. Mindy then, the husband parks. Mindy slips out of the back seat, and she's walking in the woods. She has her phone, making a call saying, I know who the kidnapper is. I'm with the kidnapper, but signals going in and out. She sees this trailer off in the distance. She approaches this trailer, and there's newspapers covering the windows of this trailer. As she approaches, she hears mumbling on the inside. When she goes inside, there's doors inside the trailer that are tied, and there are kids in there. The boys that were missing, the boy that was snatched off his bike, they're in that trailer in cabinets, locked up in there, and they're like, help us, please help us, don't leave us, please help us. And you see that someone's coming into that cabin or that trailer and ends up putting a bag over Mindy's head and suffocates her. At that point, you think she's dead. It's our detective. It's Greg Harper. He's the kidnapper. He's the one that's been kidnapping these kids. He's the one that was the kidnapper 10 years ago. It's him. Why he's doing it, we don't know. But it's Greg that's doing this, okay? So Greg puts Mindy in his Jeep. He drives her back home. He picks her up, brings her in the house. Alec is still in the garage, and he's watching this. And remember, he thought Mindy had died because he did push her against the wall, but she did live. He sees the husband pick her up, brings her inside. Greg puts her on the bed, wakes her up and tells her to wake up, and she's about to scream. He puts his hand over her mouth. She's frightened. He tells her, stand up. Go ahead, stand up. She stands up. He takes the gun out, and she's like, please don't. You don't have to do this. He says, yes, I do, and he shoots her in the head. You hear Alec is downstairs. You hear the gunshots. Alec comes up. He has an axe. They get into a struggle. He and Greg get into a struggle. Greg ends up knocking out Alec. Greg walks away thinking Alec's dead. Alec gets up and has the gun. Alec holds the gun to Mr. Harper's head. Mr. Harper's telling him, I'm a cop. You kill me, there's going to be problems. You don't want to do this. Alec's like, yes, I do. I know you're the kidnapper. I know you're the one that kidnapped those kids 10 years ago. I know it's you. He ends up shooting Greg. Greg's dead. Rewind really quick. When Alec showed up at the house, he had this little Pez dispenser with a frog that he's had for years. Then as the movie progresses, you then see the two kids back 10 years ago that were walking along the tracks, that their friend had died, okay? And they're walking along the tracks, and in the back of the little boy's pocket was a little Pez dispenser with the frog on it. Alec was the boy 10 years ago whose brother was murdered by Greg. So when Alec met Mindy, Alec was the one that picked out the house for Mindy to squat in or to frog. It was a get back at Greg because he knew that Greg was the kidnapper. You guys, this movie was so freaking good, and I can't do it enough justice. You got to check out this film. The 3 different storylines, you got to watch it, okay? Although I did some spoiler, it's a spoiler review, and I will do a lot of those, but you still got to go check out the movie because I don't do it justice by just talking about it. It's such a good movie. It came out in 2019, like I said. It got a 5.6 on IMDb. This is a great movie, and I didn't realize when I picked it out last night. So I really hope you guys enjoy this review. This movie is called I See You. You can watch it on Netflix. 2019 film, crime, drama, horror. You will enjoy this film. I appreciate you guys joining me. Listen, guys, in a few weeks, I have a young hip-hop artist out of Sacramento. His name is Jums Awkward. He's going to be joining me here in the studio, and we're going to check out his music. Absolutely talented, on the rise. Besides that, guys, you can catch me on Wednesdays on Movie Lovers Unite podcast and YouTube, and Rossie Talks YouTube channel as well. I hope to see you again on Rossie's Clubhouse. I hope you had a wonderful time. Thank you, guys. I will see you soon. Thank you. Bye, guys.